Traders, how are you? With Marcello. Today we're going to be doing the recap of what happened in the markets this week. Let's get started. So overall for the week, we have a situation where everybody's concerned about the new Delta plus Elite 20,000 version 8.0 variant for the COVID. And joking aside, that's really what everybody's worried about. So we have lockdowns happening in different parts of the world. And then we also have, vaccine companies making billions of dollars with the vaccines. Overall for the week, the stock market went up. We had record highs in all three markets in the United States. Overseas market news, the SOC in Paris in France, they had the biggest winner there at 3.08%. Latin American and Canadian markets were mixed. Canada was at about 1.23%. The dictatorship of Canada. Africa and Middle Eastern markets are mixed. Saudi Arabia took the crown there at 1.78% positive, and in the far east, the Philippines went up 4.30%, which was the biggest winner there in the Far East. Bitcoin and crypto news, we got quite a bit of this going on. First of all, the Federal Reserve Board Governor Christopher Waller, say that 3 times fast, came out against digital dollar. He said that a federal digital-backed currency isn't going to solve any problems that the U.S. economy already has, so he's not for it. Ethereum hard fork. If you guys are new to kind of the whole Bitcoin world, essentially think of it like an improvement to the system, right? Instead of me kind of pointing out and explaining all the technical aspects of it. And essentially what that's going to do is lower costs quite a bit, because one of the things in the Bitcoin and crypto space where the transaction fees were a little bit high, Venezuela, the Socialist Republic of Venezuela, are going to remove 6 zeros from the currency and also launch their digital Bolivar, which is their currency, which is not worth anything. Lionel Messi, which is the soccer superstar, the ex-Barcelona player, is going to launch an NFT collection on Eternity. And if you guys don't know what NFTs are, it's a non-fungible token, which is essentially, think about you buying art and putting it on your wall. Well, it's literally art that you just keep on your computer. It's just digital art, basically, or digital things that you can buy. So you have the rights to it, which is big because, anytime a guy, he's not that popular in the United States, but he's huge overseas because of his soccer career. The CEO of Binance has renounced his position. He decided to go ahead and step down. There's something really weird that's happening with Binance. I don't know if some of you crypto guys follow some of my videos, but we had the UK banning Binance, then we had also Malaysia banning Binance, and now we have the CEO giving up his spot. So there's something funny going on with Binance. I personally use Binance, but I would be a little bit careful if I were you, because something just doesn't seem right. The country of Colombia said they're also going to propose laws to regulate Bitcoin and cryptos, because obviously they want to regulate absolutely everything, even though I love the country. Mining Bitcoin in the US will almost become illegal with new regulation that they're going to pass. I think she's a Senator Warren, is placing some verbiage into the new infrastructure bill that's going to limit that. I don't see any of you guys that are saying that Bitcoin couldn't be regulated speaking up now. Remember, I told you guys since the beginning. Now, remember that China banned all their miners, right? They kicked them out. And a lot of them, that's 65-70% of all the processing power for mining in Bitcoin went to a lot of places, for example, like United States and Texas. So now the US now is, you see what's happening now. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin is going to disappear, right? It's still going to go up and down. I have no doubt it's probably going to hit a new record high soon at some point in the future. But you guys can see that this regulation is starting to step up a little bit. And for me, what's most fascinating about Bitcoin is that we have super rich, super smart guys that are literally on both extremes of the spectrum. We have billionaire, if not the best investor of all time, Warren Buffett, and his partner Charlie Munger talking about how it's rat poison. And then we have other people, for example, like the CEO of Chase, I forgot his name. He first was against it. Now he's for. Ray Dalio, which runs the biggest fund in the world. He's a billionaire. He was against it at first, and now he's for it. So it's like, you have all these guys that are just on the opposite sides of the spectrum. And for me, it's fascinating because, generally you have a situation where a lot of these billionaires agree on something rather than disagreeing so vehemently. Overall for the week, Bitcoin is up 4.7% at 43,000 750. Remember last week was when we had that big pop from about 30,000, 31,000 to 40,000. Commodities, oil went down by quite a bit. In addition to precious metals, we had really good economic news in the United States. This caused the dollar to go up quite a bit. So we had U.S. crude go down by over 8%, and also international Brent go down by just under 8%. I saw a photo that somebody sent me recently. You guys are paying $6 gas now in California. Keep voting for those socialist guys. Other than that, precious metals, gold went down 2.87% to 1764. It's at a pretty good price now, especially to buy with all the premiums. Not that I'm telling you to buy. Obviously, you know, I'm not a trading advisor. I can't tell you what to buy and sell, but you may want to look into it a little bit. Silver went down 4.45% to 24.47. And in financial and banking news, the total amount of consumer credit in the United States grew at its fastest pace in June at a pace of $39.69 billion. That's following the month of May, which is at $36.69 billion. This basically shows Americans using their credit cards to drive consumer spending in the second quarter of the year. Remember that consumer spending is by far the most important thing when it comes to the economy. It's nearly 70% of the economy in the United States. Other countries like the UK or Canada, you know, industrialized countries, it's still a very, very big portion, in most cases above 50%. And this is why they do the money printing, right? So what they do is they inject money into the economy, they create these asset bubbles, your house goes up, your pension goes up, your retirement goes up, and then you feel rich, and then you go out and you spend money, and then that moves the economy. At least that's the way that they see it. In economic news, Asian factories are confronting rising input costs and a new wave of coronavirus infections. This has obviously caused supply chain disruptions. We have shipping disruptions as well, in addition to the raw materials increasing in price. So this is part of the reason why we're seeing this increasing in inflation, in addition to the fact of what the government is doing by printing all this money. Chinese factory PMI was not as high as expected. It's at 50.4. I know that doesn't mean much to you, but basically it's at its slowest pace in 17 months, and this is obviously due to the whole situation with the raw materials cost, the super duper Delta Plus variant Supreme 2.0 for the coronavirus, and obviously we have a situation with the lockdowns as well. They're affecting quite a bit. Emerging markets in Southeast Asia also are being affected. Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam, their PMIs. PMI is the Purchase Manufacturers Index, which is basically just an index by the manufacturing. Manufacturing is when they create things, right? Building a car is manufacturing, for example. So it's not a huge chunk of the economy. For example, in the United States, it's only about 11%, but still, you know, Germany, for example, the Eurozone surged to an all-time high at 63.4. Anything under 50 means contraction. So basically, if the numbers are good or higher than the previous month or higher than the previous year, that's a good thing. And obviously, Germany and the Euro, they make a lot of stuff. We all love buying German things, right? July's job growth in the U.S. was the smallest gain since February. Job creation at private firms tumbled in July. Obviously, the fear about the Delta Plus variant super duper 20,000 is affecting that as well. Employers added just 330,000 positions, well below the 613,000 estimate by analysts. So that means that the economy isn't growing as fast as the analysts expected it to. And there's been a sharp deceleration as well for the previous report in June, down to 680 when the original was 692. So the economy is not moving as fast as we wanted it to. Unemployment rate has dropped to 5.4% from 5.9, even though the U.S. did add 943,000 jobs in July. The unemployment claims declined by more than 14,000 last week, and the layoffs are at the lowest point in 21 years, because obviously if you let somebody go, you probably won't be able to find anybody else because the government keeps paying everybody with the stimulus. So, big labor shortage. And other than that, you know, the like button there on Facebook is a great economic indicator of the video, so go ahead and smash the like button. It helps a lot with the videos. Corporate news, Allianz, which is one of the largest insurers in the world and the largest in Europe. It's a Germany-based company. They went down 8% after the U.S. Department of Justice was saying that they're going to start investigating part of their company. Robinhood, the meme stocks are back! where the meme stocks started, AMC and GameStop, Robinhood exploded. They had to actually shut it down. They actually shut down trading for Robinhood. It went up 24.20% on Tuesday, 50.41% on Wednesday, after finally falling almost 28% on Thursday. But ironic that where the meme stock started, they're now starting to pump Robinhood. Moderna shares hit a record high. They blew past the estimates. Their quarter two profit was $2.78 billion, so they went up 8% to another record high. In trade news, Apple, the purveyor of the protection of privacy, is saying that they're going to start checking your phone on your pictures for child pornography, depending on local laws, but they protect your privacy. Their privacy is important to you at Apple, but they're just going to start going through your phone. Many other companies are saying that it could be exploited by governments when they start this kind of behavior. Investment news, the CDC is stating that the 7-day average for the coronavirus cases in the U.S. reached almost 73,000 last Friday, surpassing the peak from the last summer when the nation didn't have the COVID-19 vaccines. 70% of the population has now been vaccinated in the United States, even though a lot of people are still worried about the super duper Delta Plus variant 8000. And the first for U.S. major carriers as well, United Airlines is going to require that all of their employees be vaccinated. That's 67,000 people by October 25th or risk termination. This is just going to get worse. It's not going to get better. So you better move to a state that's not allowing these COVID mandates, like Florida or Texas, for example, because they outlawed them. International events with about 15 million people. And let me just interject it for a second. I'm not saying that the vaccines are a bad thing. Obviously, I just believe in my body, my choice. With about 15 million in 3 states, or 60% of the population in Australia, they have sent in the military to do a strict lockdown due to the fact that they've had 361 cases in Australia of the COVID, with just 5 deaths, which is one of the highest of this year. So because 5 people died, they shut down almost the entire country. An unusual facts this week, space tourism company Virgin Galactic is saying that they're progressing towards bringing in revenue to bring private people into space in 2022. They're saying that they're going to sell single seats in addition to package deals and entire flights. The revenue of the company, they just posted $571,000 in revenue, and they're going to be charging a very, very reasonable $450,000 a seat to go into space. Other than that, researchers led by the University of Cambridge's Center of Study of Existential Risk, they identified 7 pinch points in the world where they have small but active volcanoes that sit along vital infrastructure that would cause, and I quote, catastrophic global consequences. These volcanoes are in Taiwan, North Africa, North Atlantic, and northwestern the United States. It's funny to me how we're all of a sudden, have you noticed they're starting to report all these things? All these fires, and now the mainstream media is catching on to all the natural disasters happening around the world, which is unfortunate, but something's going on. My instinct tells me something's going on. Natural disasters. Greece is getting obliterated by these fires. Unfortunately, thousands of people have had to be evacuated in Athens, which is the capital of Greece. Turkey also is like, it looks literally like an apocalyptic scene. If you guys have seen some of the videos, I'm sure you guys will probably see it here in a second. If you guys are listening on the podcast, I'd recommend you guys have a look on YouTube. The wildfires in California have gone up 151%. The Oroville Dam in California has been shut down. So part of the electric generation in California, which is renewable, has been shut down. They're also taking away the water rights from the farmers, saying that they can't use the water for their crops because they need to go ahead and preserve it. So if you guys remember, California is one of the biggest producers of food, not only in the United States, but in the world. So most likely going to have food shortages soon. So you guys should probably prepare. I think the preppers at the end of the day were right. FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency something association. It's the emergency part of the government. They're doing a nationwide alert test on August 11th. It's going to be sent to TVs, radios, and also cell phones nationwide. The Army's testing landing on highways. So let me get this right. we're all of a sudden just gonna test the emergency system just to make sure you get that text message on your cell phone. And now the Army is testing landing jets on private roads. And on top of that, the US Navy is testing parachute jumps over Central Park in Manhattan. Like, is it me, or is this just a little bit of a coincidence? Something is going on. And in China, the Taklamakan Desert in Xinjiang has been filled with water. Again, the desert, who's supposed to have zero water, has been filled up with water. And basically what's happening with all these natural disasters, we're talking about the record heat in parts of Europe and obviously northwest United States, the inundations, we have flooding all over the world. Basically what's happening is the jet stream in the atmosphere has been not manipulated, but the word is changed. And so we don't have this normal regulation effect when it comes to the jet stream. And in the places, for example, with the inundations or the floods, it's because the jet stream is changed, it consumes a lot of water in the clouds, and then all of a sudden it just dumps it. And then I also read something saying that I'm not going to be saying this right, but we have a similar to a jet stream, we have it in the ocean as well. And this is primarily what brings the heat in to Europe and also the northeast United States. It's basically just a jet stream. Think of it like a current in the ocean, and it helps regulate temperatures. That, I read, has been shutting down as well. And if that shuts down, Europe is literally going to freeze, because that's the only reason that Europe has moderate weather. So as I told you guys before, next 10 years are going to be challenging. We're going to have environmental problems. We're going to have environmental disasters, social problems, economic problems. So go prepare yourself. And first, leave the like there on YouTube. That's the news for this week, guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next week.